It was the man from Waterloo, when work in town was slack, who took the track, as bushmen do, and humped his swag out back. He tramped for months without a bob, for most the sheds were full, until at last he got a job at picking up the wool. He found the work was rather rough, but swore to see it through, for he was made of sterling stuff, the man from Waterloo. They're the opening lines from my favourite Henry Lawson poem, The Man from Waterloo, with kind regards to banjo. And I spent most of my day here today in Henry Lawson territory, in Golgong, and you can see the Henry Lawson statue in the background. And it was a fantastic day, and I learnt that poem for this visit today, the whole poem obviously, and I was going along to the Henry Lawson Museum, and I knew I was visiting there, and I thought it'd be quite nice to recite a full Henry Lawson poem to the crowd of people that had gathered there to come along and have a discussion with me, and I think they appreciated it, and I thought it was quite nice to be reciting Henry Lawson poetry in the Henry Lawson Museum. My day actually started off in Pinebong, where I met with a farmer who invited me out to come and have a discussion with him, and that was a great discussion around a range of things, but the main thing he focused on were the government subsidies for farmers, transport subsidies in particular. And it's all well and good for governments to promise money, to promise subsidies, but his real issue was the payment of those subsidies. He's put an application in about 6 weeks ago and still waiting for that payment. The application's correct, there's no issues with the application, but when he's had discussions with the government department responsible, they've told him it might take up to 3 months. Now he needs that money to continue buying feed to feed his 140 cattle. So it's all well and good for a government to promise that money, but they need to actually deliver on it. After I started off early in the morning in Pinebong, I then came through to Golgong. The museum was the first place I met with, and what a great group of volunteers they've got there, and that is a fantastic museum. 18,000 people go through the museum on an annual basis on average, and there's so much to see. I kept going and going, and I thought I was at the end, and then there was more to see, and it was absolutely fantastic, and I really appreciate the time given to me by those volunteers. But I also appreciate the research arm. There's a component of the museum that does research for people, family history, research about things in Golgong. So I asked them to investigate my wife's great-grandfather, because I was told by my mother-in-law that he was the mayor of Golgong many years ago. And so they researched that, and they found John Francis Williams was in fact the mayor back in about 1925. So it is nice to have that little bit of history associated with my wife. I then went from the museum across to the Golgong CWA and met with a group of ladies there, and it was great to hear their perspective and what was important to them, and so we discussed a range of items there, and it's great to hear their feedback on how they think I'm going and also what they think the state government could do better. And then I went to the Henry Lawson Museum and looked around there, and that is great to see the wonderful history they've created there about Henry Lawson, and it's a fantastic job they've done there. And as I said, I got the chance to stand on the stage in the small room, it's like a classroom there, where I could actually recite some Henry Lawson poetry, and again, the crowd really seemed to appreciate that, and I was pretty excited to do that. I then met with a private individual here in Golgong who wanted to talk to me about issues, and probably they were more council issues, but it's still good to hear some of those issues and hear what's important to people. And then I'm actually leaving a little bit early. It's about 4 o'clock now. I'm leaving a little bit earlier than I'd normally expect to finish off a day on the campaign trail, but today's Wednesday and I like to race mountain bikes. The mountain bike season has started again. Once daylight saving hits, we race every Wednesday afternoon, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So I want to get home, prepare and go out there and race mountain bikes just to try and keep myself fit. It's a good way to try and keep fit. Thanks to all those people who helped out today. It's been a really busy, active, fantastic, exciting day. Tomorrow I'm off to Apple Tree Flat to meet with some people around there, around Abbotsford, around Mudgee. It'll be another exciting day, I'm sure, but I won't be reciting Henry Lawson poetry. This has been Mathew Dickerson, your independent voice.